to listen to the Lap Traffic Podcast.
What is up, Lap Traffic Nation? Welcome to episode 276 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. I am your host, the Professor Brandon Crowd. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend. 8 winners through 9 races. I'll take those numbers all day, every day. Lots to get into, obviously, whether or not we like dirt racing, whether or not Kyle Busch backed into a win. So much to talk about. But, first, little weekend rundown for you guys. Friday, hung out at the house, pretty low key. Saturday, we took Alden out for his first lunch at a restaurant, which was awesome. He is a total ladies' man. He is such a flirt, which is absolutely adorable. I've been nervous. I also took Alden out for our first outing, just me and him, daddy and son, and I was going back and forth. Where do I take him for his first outing, just the two of us, something quick? And we went to the meat market. We went and got stuff to smoke for Easter this weekend. So that was fun. I'm nervous because we have yet to have the first public diaper explosion. And I know that is an inevitability and that it will happen. So it's like, all right, we're going to leave fresh diaper. And, all right, have we fed him yet? I am trying to be so calculated with everything because that's just my nature. And I'm waiting because I know that diaper explosion in public is going to happen. But Sunday, went to Mass, had the family over, smoked a ham and some candy bacon. And then had the opportunity, all of the grandkids got to go to my grandpa's house, who passed away in November, and go through and get some, personal items that are near and dear to us. So that was cool. So busy weekend, but, still somewhat low-key weekend. So I'll take that. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the show. Hope you guys enjoyed last week's show with Sheldon Creed. Got a packed show this week. Go tell your friends. Numbers are down a smidge, and I get that, maybe because of lack of consistency here. But so I'm going to try to be as consistent as possible, get things back to normal. Got a jam-packed show for you guys today. I put it out on Twitter last week. William Byron Lap Traffic debut tonight, which is awesome. Chase Purdy is going to be on, as well as Austin Wayne Self, who had the tie-up with Matt D on Saturday night. So can't wait to talk about that. So for those that may be new to the show or whatever, I do record typically Mondays and Tuesdays, or a combo thereof. So I had reached out to try to get Byron on after his Martinsville win and was not available last Monday or Tuesday. So I did record this on Wednesday. So we do preview Bristol a little bit, but we do talk a lot about Martinsville and all that. But definitely excited to drop that in here for you guys here in just a little bit. I'll have some Bristol recaps. Let's see here. Brian Neudorff will be on with the weather, Lucky Dog lap down picks, some takes from you guys, and all that good stuff. So let's get things rolling, and let's drop in William Byron making his lap traffic debut. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making his first appearance on the show. He is the driver of the 24 RaptorTough.com Chevy and the winner of the Blue Emu 200 and 400 last weekend. Welcome to the show, William Byron. What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it, man. 2 clocks. Where are you putting them, man?
Oh, man. Well, I haven't gotten the cup clock yet back from Hendrick, but yeah, I got the Truck Series clock in the living room. Definitely enjoying putting it on display. It's pretty awesome.
That's so cool, man. Walk us through that truck race. For me as a fan, sitting there Thursday night, 71 out of 200 laps run under yellow. Did that get a little frustrating for you? And walk us through your night there.
Yeah, the truck race, you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, the truck race was pretty crazy. Those races always are pretty wild at Martinsville. So we had to start in the back and because of no practice or qualifying, and I felt like we just kind of marched our way through the field and was able to get to a spot where we could be on the right side of strategy. And with all the cautions and how they played out, it really allowed for a lot of strategy with the tires. So got up front and was able to kind of control the race from there.
That's great, man. Can you talk a little bit about how the deal came together with Spire and, how good it felt to get back into a truck after I think you only ran one race last year and you hadn't really been in one since 2016. So how did it feel getting back in the truck?
It was a lot of fun. We got a chance to put it together, I think, 2 weeks ago. And really just the initiative came from, Mr. H to let us race. And, he was excited about it. To put injuredcars.com on the truck was really awesome. And, just always good to get more laps on the track, and felt like it was a great weekend for us overall. We just were able to work on the things that we needed to and get in that Martinsville rhythm and have a great weekend sweep.
That's awesome. So Sunday, you and Chase, man, you guys put on a clinic leading all but 6 laps. You guys both had it dialed in. You also had to come from the back on Sunday and did so in dominating fashion. Talk to us a little bit about how Sunday went for you guys.
Yeah, Sunday was pretty wild. It was, you never know what to expect, but at Martinsville we were shifting. So it was a lot different challenge than we're used to at Martinsville. We typically don't shift or do anything like that. And was definitely an interesting challenge for sure, but glad we could keep up with the racetrack and put ourselves in a good position coming towards the end of the race. So was pretty amazing second half of the race. We were able to lead a lot of laps and put ourselves in a good position to win.
Sure. You mentioned shifting. We've, decent amount of races in, decent sample size. We've hit the super speedways. We've hit an intermediate. We've had some short tracks. What's been the biggest challenge for you in getting comfortable and used to the new cars?
Gosh, I'd say the biggest challenge has just been getting used to each different racetrack. The car, you get it figured out at one racetrack and then you go to another one and it's totally different from what it used to be. So, figuring out that new feel that you need at each racetrack. And you really can't rely on many notes from the past. And I think that it's just about taking whatever the racetrack feels like and working with that. And, so far we've done a good job with all those things and trying to adapt as we go and putting ourselves in a good position to have good finishes, because we've made good adjustments after practice and gotten ourselves in a good position going into the race.
Sure. Can you talk to us a little bit about the changes from the pit stop side of things with you, the single lug, 2 tire stops are quicker than they used to be, 4 tire stops. How's that adjustment been as far as, getting acclimated in when to go, as far as the jack dropping and all of that?
Yeah, it's different. The timing is a little bit quicker than the old pit stop, and the footwork's a little bit different too. With the sequential shifter, you can't just knock it out of gear into neutral. You've got to keep it in gear as you come in the pit box. So that's a different feeling for sure to get used to. But so far so good. We've been able to adapt to those things. Our pit crew is doing a great job. They're continuing to get better as the season goes along and they get more used to these pit stops. So been a lot of fun so far.
That's great. Headed to Bristol this weekend, back to the dirt, 6th place finish last year. Last year, obviously crazy with the weather and all that. If the weather cooperates, do you see it being a different style race, either because of the new car or because, the dirt's not going to have you're not going to dry out like it did towards the end of that thing? How do you see this weekend going for you guys?
I think it'll be different for sure. I think versus last year, it's going to have some characteristics that are a little bit different than what we're used to. So they put progressive banking into the racetrack. The bottom seems smoother than it was last year. So really not sure what to expect. I'll be watching the trucks really intently to kind of see how they drive and kind of go from there and figure out what we have.
How what's prep work like for something like this with a new car? Typically, you could say you could get in a sim and go do some testing that way. Is that something that you'll try to replicate, or how do you practice for something like this?
Yeah, I don't think there's much practice you can do. I'm getting in a dirt car tomorrow to go run Kyle Larson's dirt late model challenge, and that's probably the biggest thing that I can do to get ready for it. So excited for that race. Thankful, that he's having me out for that race, and I'll hopefully be able to learn some things from that.
That's great. That should be a lot of fun. The rest of this year, man, any track circled that, you're anxious to go and get this new car at?
Oh man, I think Dover comes to mind because it's going to be fast. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully, and hopefully it's just a challenge and we can work our way around those challenges. So I'm excited for Dover this year because of all the new things with this car.
I love it. Awesome. Well, listen, man, where can everybody follow you on social media, hit the sponsors, all that good stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Just follow me on, at William Byron on Twitter, and same thing, just my name on Instagram too. So make sure you keep up with doing a lot of racing this year. So hopefully they can keep up with all of it.
Awesome. Great, man. Well, listen, Lab Traffic Nation, huge thank you to William Byron for calling into the show. Great to have you on for the first time, man. Best of luck this weekend, rest of 2022, and look forward to having you back on down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, man.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.
Thanks.
Have a good one.
All right, Lab Traffic Nation, there you have William Byron on the show. Not gonna lie, I was pretty excited. That's one of the bigger marquee names to make their way onto the Lab Traffic podcast. So pretty excited about that. Hope you guys enjoyed that. So here's what I'm going to do for the rest of the show, or just kind of layout here. I'm going to talk a little bit about Bristol, and then I'm going to get Chase Purdy on the line for you guys here towards the end of my Cup and truck recaps. And then at the end of the show, is when we'll talk to Austin Wayne Self. So there you go. All right, let's talk about Bristol. Let's talk about the Bristol truck race. Let's talk about Ben Rhodes going out and just putting on a clinic. Started second. I believe he led the first lap, and to just go out there, finish first in both stages and pick up the win. I mean, just went out there and just flat out dominated that thing, which is fun to watch. I mean, when you think about just how of a wild card racing on the dirt can be, just like we talk about Daytona and Talladega being wild cards, to be able to go out there and just have that type of dominance is something else. We had, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, Austin Dillon out there from the Cup side of things. I'm surprised we didn't have a few more. Last year we had, I think, Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex Jr., I drawn a blank on some of the other ones, but I think we had about 10 Cup guys in the field last year, and just a handful this year. We did have Buddy Kofoid out there, who was a new name to me, that's for sure. And man, he finished up there in the second stage and was trying to make some noise. Let's see, we had Chase Purdy, who's going to be on here in just a little bit, finished 13th. Austin Wayne Self, well, we know what happened there, and we'll get that story there and how that all played out. But Parker Kligerman out there finishing fourth, was up as high as second there towards the end of that thing. That was, it was a good truck race. And that's the thing. I mean, I enjoyed the truck race. The Cup race, I enjoyed the shootout of the Cup race. That last, 14, 15 laps, whatever that was there. The rain delay didn't help. And it's just, man, I don't know where I'm at there. But before I get to that, I do want to recap just kind of some things here with the truck points, because, Ben Rhodes, obviously, he's in first place there. But We got Grant Enfinger, who's on the outside looking in. We got Tyler Ankrum on the outside looking in. Matt DiBenedetto on the outside looking in. I wish Parker Kligerman was running a full-time schedule because he's sitting there in 14th and only run 4 of the 6 races. Like, he would definitely, be in the playoff hunt if he had ran those 2 other races. There's no doubt about it that, in my eyes, he'd be in the top 10 easily, handily. If he was running full time. So, you could only imagine there. I wonder how many races he's got left. Parker normally comes on the show once or twice a year. We'll have to get him on and see what the rest of the plans are for him in the truck series. But man, when you think about that, you've only got 16 regular season truck races. We only got 10 more to go before the truck playoff starts. So 10 races left. It's never too soon to be talking truck playoffs. So trucks are off for a couple weeks. They will be back when we go to Darlington. So, Darlington's always a fun time. So, wrapping up on Bristol and then going to Darlington, that's not too bad from the truck series there. So, all right, let's talk about this Cup race here. Kyle Busch, last lap pass because Tyler Riddick and Chase Briscoe getting into it, beating and banging. That's what we do want. That's what we want at Bristol. That's what we want at Martinsville. We want that kind of battling for the lead. We got it. For Tyler Riddick to be able to rebound after that and still finish second, that is remarkable. He was so close to tasting victory lane. Who would have thought Tyler Riddick's first win could have potentially come on the dirt? I would not. It didn't. But I would not have. I would not have called that one. And we keep saying it. He's going to get one of these days. He keeps getting closer inch by inch to getting his first Cup trophy. And I still believe that it is going to happen this year. So what do you guys think? Any takers on that? Does Tyler Riddick see victory lane this year in the Cup Series? Kyle Busch doing Kyle Busch things, up there all day in contention, 5th place in both stages, coming out there with the win. I missed the post-race interview, so I'm very curious if any other drivers out there made reference to him possibly backing into that one, stealing that one, whatever the vernacular is that would be used. A lot of Lab Traffic Fantasy players went with Christopher Bell, paid off very well point-wise. Kyle Busch got the most with 52. Kyle Larson had 48 and Christopher Bell with 47. So, nothing wrong there. And, so that leads me to my question to you guys is, all right, we've done this 2 years now, Bristol Dirt. Rain's impacted things both years, a little less impactful this year than last year. What do you guys have to say about Bristol Dirt? Do we need Cup cars on dirt? Do we want to go to Bristol with dirt? What do you guys think? EJ 43. At PettyFan 4389, no more dirt at Bristol. If they want to run dirt, they need to do it at Eldora. The guy that owns Eldora knows how to prep a dirt track. No more of this joke crap at Bristol, please. I feel you there. Fred, let's see. Nope. Fred's got LuckyDogs, not here. Jess at Iowa NASCAR fan, regardless if they run it on dirt or pavement, the spring Bristol race needs to be ran in June to get out of the Eastern Tennessee rain season in April. Matt at Camper News Net, Cup should race on dirt, but I think they should look at racing at North Wilkesboro, especially given the news on Saturday. That would be pretty remarkable. That would be a lot of fun. For me, I look at it as I get it. I like it. I like dirt racing better than I like plate racing at Talladega or Daytona. I think that's more enjoyable if, you are involved in one. It's typically because you were doing something wrong or racing hard, not just a casualty of something that happened 15 rows in front of you. So from that regard, I like it better. I would like to see it at a natural dirt track, not a manufactured dirt track, if you will. Bristol deserves to have 2 races. I'm all about what Jess said, moving the spring race at Bristol to June. And then we've got the fall race, September, October, wherever that falls into place there. That's a great space, I think, when Michigan had 2 races, when Pocono had 2 races, I think there was one time we went to Pocono with just a 7-week gap, which is too soon, obviously. We saw that in ticket sales. Michigan, when we had our 2 races, that was anywhere between 8 to 9 weeks apart. That's a lot to ask people to make that type of commitment, that drive for both of those. So if you were to have a June race at Bristol and then a, late September race, whatever the case may be there, I think that's a good break between those 2 races. I feel like, and I feel like Bristol deserves to have the race the way it was supposed to be ran, short track racing, at the last great Coliseum, and that's the thing, right? Like, all right, we want to give Bristol 2 races. We want to incorporate dirt. I understand, hey, this is the track to do it at so that no one else is losing a date. But I've said it before, since NASCAR's come out and done their reconfig of the schedule, that I'd be okay with some tracks either not having a race one year or losing a race and then maybe gaining it back, if we cycled through some things, so if we cycled through, maybe Bristol loses a race one year, one of its 2 races to incorporate a dirt race somewhere else, okay, cool. Or if, another track has to do that, I'd be open to that, to allow for a cup dirt race at a track that houses, and that's what they do, is dirt. So yeah, there's my long digression there. So, okay. Let's do some social media and then let's talk to Chase Purdy. Everybody, make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, facebook.com, The Lap Traffic Podcast, YouTube, The Lap Traffic Podcast, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, all at Lap Traffic PC. Leave a review. Tell your friends to go follow. Still got the giveaway going on for a Chase Elliott 124 race win diecast and some Kevin Harvick sheet metal. Once we hit 6,000 followers on Twitter, some new follower shout outs. Freddie at Freddie_stuff_. You all know Freddie. Freddie's back on Twitter, which is a great thing. Freddie provides a lot of great content out there, so go follow Freddie. Cheryl at Cheryl Christ 4, Harvick fan from PA, and Junior at Junior422, a Joey Logano fan. Welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show. Go tell your friends, all that good stuff. Don't forget about stickers and koozies. I've got them for free. All you have to do is fill out the contact page on the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, and I will send them out to you for free. All right. Normally, this is where the weather segment will happen, but we're going to put that on pause for just a minute, and let's welcome Chase Purdy to the Lap Traffic Podcast. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making his first appearance on the show. He is the driver of the 61 with Hattori Racing. Welcome to the Lap Traffic Podcast, Chase Purdy. Chase, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. Just hanging out.
Yes, man. Listen, we had a wild one last night, and then you guys put on a hell of a show Saturday night. But before we get into Bristol, tell the listeners a little bit about your background. You've raced at all, karts, legends, late models. Walk us through your racing career and what eventually brought you to the Truck Series.
Yeah, so I was born in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, but I was raised in Meridian, Mississippi. They're about an hour or so apart from each other. So very home is the Mississippi, Alabama area for sure. When I was 9, I got my first go-kart, and I was hooked ever since. It was for me, it was anything with 4 wheels that I could jump in after that. So yeah, like I said, I went up through a bunch of the ranks and a bunch of different series and stuff. And as some people know, I took a bit of a break, about a 2-year gap from when I was like 18 to 20, 20 years old, and I had to come back, and that's when I came to the truck series to start racing, and that was a challenge in itself. And so I'm still learning to get back acclimated, and just relearn the things I wouldn't say don't know how to do, but kind of forgotten how to do, type thing.
Sure. What was one of like the hardest adjustments for you coming back into the sport?
Just even the simple as strapping in, it feels normal now, right? Because I've been doing it back again for a while. But I remember when I first came back, I was like strapped in. I was like, man, it feels like I remember, but it feels just a little different, and you haven't felt those things in a while, and you haven't raced in a while. And, that was prime COVID. So when I came back, it was like being thrown to the wolves. No practice, no call. I didn't get a single lap. So it was quite an insane day, you could say.
So did you do a lot of sim racing, or what kind of helped you back into getting into the groove?
So I leaned on some of my buddies and teammates that I had, and I watched a lot of film, and thankfully I had been to where I debuted back again in an ARCA car before, so I kind of knew what I was getting myself into. I knew the racetrack, which was a positive. But yeah, I did a lot of sim. It's just anything I could do that could possibly simulate how that would feel and everything.
Sure. All right. So born in Bama, raised Mississippi. Are we Roll Tide or go Bulldogs?
Well, it wouldn't be Bulldogs. It would be Hotty Toddy for Ole Miss. But, when Bama and Ole Miss play each other, I root for Bama. Technically I don't really lose.
Oh, right.
But I do pull for Bama.
Okay.
But if they're not playing each other, I'll pull for Ole Miss all day as well.
All right. So you and Grant Enfinger must be great friends then, from the Bama perspective then.
Yeah. We're not super close, but we're I think maybe it's because he's older than me, but we definitely share the same knowledge and passion for Alabama and Alabama football.
That's awesome. All right, man. Well, let's talk about trucks, Bristol Dirt. Walk us through your weekend. 13th place finish, solid day for you guys, but take us through it.
Yeah, well, actually, we started 33rd, which, that's not the best place you could start.
Right.
We knew we had a lot of work to do, but we also knew that, after we run the heat races that, when the track took rubber, then that's where we would get a lot better. And so we really focused, even in practice, we didn't want to be the first ones out. We wanted to simulate what it would be like for the race, which is what we did. We really focused on making the truck handle better, towards, what we thought would be maybe after stage one during the race, when it took rubber. But it was a long day for sure. It's a new world out there on dirt at Bristol. You can't see. You got to really rely on your spotter. And what was cool that I thought was neat was there was 3 different lanes in both ends that you could run. You had guys running the fence. You had guys in the middle, running the bottom. And that was just really cool that you had so many different options of places to run and make speed. And as the race goes on, the track is constantly changing. So you had to go out and find grip in whatever line that might have been or lane.
What talk a little bit about, we've heard guys say, especially at the cup level, if we're going to do it, let's do it right, take the windshields out and all that kind of stuff. You as a driver, what's your take on that? Would that have helped? Would that make it a little bit more quote unquote realistic? Should we be racing on dirt? Where's Chase Purdy at with all that?
So, and it's just my personal opinion. Others will obviously maybe feel the same or different, but I think obviously if you take the windows out, it definitely makes it more realistic. Because dirt cars don't have windshields, right? They have that. It's just either open face or they have like a mesh grill or something. And I think if you took that out in a truck, I think you'd be able to see a little bit better. Granted, then you're going to have to wear 800 tear-offs during the race, but and the trucks on dirt, they don't race like dirt cars. It never has from my experience. It looks cool when you go out there and you get it sideways up against the fence, but you're not making any time. So you can't truly just throw it in there and sling it to the fence and get it sideways, because as fun as it is to do, that's what I'd rather do, because it's more fun that way. It's not quick. So they don't really race like dirt cars at all. But then again, I've never really been in a bunch of dirt cars. I've run like those micro sprints, and I've tested some dirt modifieds a few times. So that's my only real experience with dirt cars. So that's just for my opinion and what I take on it. But, I heard Larson the other day talk about it, and I'm sure everybody, has heard his opinion on it, but he probably would know for sure.
Right. Better than anybody.
How they were. He's raced everything in dirt, I would imagine.
Yes. Oh, 100%. All right, man. Well, listen, talk about the move over to HRE. You're their first expansion, if you will. This is their first year expanding to 2 trucks. Talk about the process, the adjustment, getting used to the new team, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's been a really really good adjustment, I'd say. I mean, it's obviously when you start a second team, you have to get through a little bit of bumps and stuff, because it's new and fresh, and you got a bunch of kinks to work out. But I think we're doing really good, especially as we're getting into the season here. I love all my guys. They work their tails off for me, and when we go to the racetrack, everybody knows what their job is and what they're going to do, and just everybody believes in each other. So it's been a really easy transition, and I'm at the shop most every day. So talking to the guys, hanging out with them, whether that's going to eat with them or just coming in because I want to, and I just wanted to see what was going on. So it's been a really easy transition for me, and like I said, there's a lot of good people over there. It's a smaller team than I was at last year, but they still build really fast race trucks and trucks that are capable of winning. I just need to get it all together and piece it together. And we'll continue to get better every week as a team.
Well, you mentioned, that they do build some fast trucks. They've got a great reputation in the truck series. You look back, Ryan Truex, Brett Moffitt championship, a few years ago. You got 8 wins with Austin Hill, and now you and teammate Tyler Ingram get to carry the banner for HRE. Tyler was on a couple weeks ago, who's great, and love chatting with him. Talk a little bit about how you guys have meshed and working with each other in the garage and on the track.
Yeah, so having Tyler as a teammate has been really easy, and I've told people this before. We were teammates last year, but what people also don't, some people know, I guess, but me and Tyler are friends off the racetrack too. So that makes it really easy, right? Someone you can talk to and hang out with, and just kind of make it's easy for you to go up to them and just ask for advice or kind of get their opinion on what their truck's doing and stuff like that. So that's been really easy. He's great to have as a teammate. We get along real well, and just everything's going good with that. That's I'm lucky to have someone that I'm good friends with and get along with over there as a teammate.
That's great, man. Talk a little bit about your sponsor, Bama Buggies, how you guys got hooked up and what they bring.
Yeah, so Bama Buggies is a side-by-side dealer, and they also do watercraft stuff. So they have like Sea-Doos and whatnot, and that it's based out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And it's a company. I think it's maybe one of the 5th largest dealers for side-by-sides or something like that. I'll have to check back exactly on that. So they just sell a bunch of side-by-side stuff. Then we do a few aftermarket things like where that might be a sound system and just stuff to add on to your side-by-side or Sea-Doo.
That's cool, man. Well, listen, we got a couple off weeks until Darlington. It's a tough track, as we all know. One, are you doing anything fun over these next couple off weeks? And how are you getting ready to go tame Darlington?
Well, I came home for Easter and to see some family and friends. And, I haven't been home in a while, so that's how I decided I was going to spend my free time. But I guarantee you by the end of the week, I'll be ready to get back to the racetrack, especially Darlington. Darlington's a really cool place. I love that you have to run up against the fence, and it's slick, and it just I got my first Darlington stripe last year, so if you're not careful, it'll bite you. But it's a really cool racetrack, got a lot of character to it. It's a driver's racetrack for sure.
Absolutely. That's what we all talk about. That's what the fans all talk about. They want the driver to have to go out there and drive it. And that's awesome, man. Well, listen, tell everyone where they can follow you on social media.
Yeah. So my Instagram is Chase_Purdy. Twitter is ChasePurdy12. Facebook's pretty simple. It's just my name. I'm also on TikTok. That's also Chase_Purdy. So those are all my social platforms. I post on there typically about the race every weekend that we have and what's going on and pretty much what I do in my everyday life. So, yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Well, listen, you sparked, I got to ask you one more question now because I created a TikTok and I did a couple videos at the start of the season. What's your trick for providing content and getting creative? Because I can sit behind this microphone and I can put audio pieces together, but man, when you know you're going to do that video, that adds a whole new level to it, man.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know that I am really good at coming up with content and creating stuff. I just post about racing, and I'm a huge outdoor guy. I love to hunt, so I just post all about that, and that's pretty much what I do. I just post what I do in my life, and the racing stuff, and me hunting, and with my buddies and stuff, and that's pretty much what I do. I don't really know how to be creative. I've never been like super good at that. One person who I know is really good at it is Noah. Noah's awesome at social media stuff. So
Absolutely.
maybe we should both go get some tips from him.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, listen, man, it was great to have you on. I look forward to having you on down the road. Best of luck to you the rest of the season, and good luck at Darlington, and enjoy the couple off weeks, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, man. It was great to talk with you.
Absolutely. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, huge thanks to Chase Purdy for calling to the show, and we'll talk to you soon, brother.
All right, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
We'll see ya. Bye.
Yeah.
All right, Lap Traffic Nation, Chase Purdy, there you have it. Great insight into Bristol, HRE, all that good stuff. Love talking with those guys. All right, still lots more to do. We've got weather. We've got Austin Wayne Self. We got Lap Traffic Fantasy. So let's keep things going. Let's get Brian Neudorff on the line. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line. You can follow him on Twitter at NASCAR_WXMAN, along with Aaron Studwell at Race Weather. Welcome back to the show, Mr. Brian Neudorff. Sir, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Another day in paradise. You will appreciate...
As long as the paradise doesn't involve dirt.
Well, it doesn't involve dirt. It sure as shit involves snow on April 18th in Michigan, though. It's like...
I'm not even listening. I've tuned you out now. I feel like
really coming down like hard right now.
I feel like we have this conversation every year.
It's true.
Every year.
Yeah.
And I tell you, number one, you live in Michigan. I have to remind you, for some reason you forget. You literally forget, you literally forget what happens in Michigan. It's like all of a sudden you wake up the next day and you're like, oh my God, I live in this state. What's this state called? It's denial. That's what it's called. That's the state you live in.
That was good. Yeah, it was good. I live in the state of denial. Yes, that's a great one. That's good. But so it's snowing now, and it's going to be 76 on Sunday, and I might go play golf. So
There you go.
There
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's Yes, we're complaining down here because the temperatures are in the 50s. So
I'd take that, but hey,
and it's not snowing.
that's all you can really ask for. It's just a depression.
Here's a problem. Here's a problem. You don't have enough cars going counterclockwise up there.
Right, to reverse the vortex. Got to reverse the
no,
vortex.
Or it is the vortex. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, man, what'd you think of Bristol Dirt?
When there's weather and I have to update, I really don't pay much attention. I don't know. I mean, I've never really seen like your short track racing dirt. I've seen some, but I really don't have an opinion per se. I mean, if they stuck with Bristol as Bristol and they stuck with all the tracks the way they're supposed to be, I'd be okay with that. I'm not sure these cars are really supposed to be out there on the dirt. I mean the final, that last lap was that kind of like setting up for like a 14 lap shootout there at the end. That was exciting. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, no, that was fantastic. I mean, that saved it. We don't get that. I mean, it's there's like you had said before we started, a lot of naysayers out there that last shootout there, I think, salvaged it for some people. Definitely didn't win over everybody. But yeah, I'm a lot of people the drivers were talking earlier in the week of, you want to make it a dirt race, take out the windshield, make the car like it's supposed to be on the dirt. And I'd be very curious what type of race, if that type of thing makes a big difference from a driver perspective with these cars and all of that. I'd be curious to see that. I'd be curious, if they said, hey, all right, we did it 2 years in a row. If they want to run Cup on dirt, okay. But how about we do it at a place that's already got it down there? Let's let Bristol keep its 2 normal races. I'd be all right with that.
I agree.
Yes.
I mean, and then, then the stuff that I think Aaron and I were getting was just people upset about the schedule. Like, I had one guy try to tell me that it's been a wet season already.
No.
And I'm like, literally. And then he's like, well,
he's in a state of denial too.
And this person finally just kind of unfollowed me and said I was, sensitive and all that stuff. And no, I mean, I was just in a mood. So I just kept, digging. But I mean, he was like, well, you think about it. We've had 4 of the 9 weekends had impacted by rain. And I'm like, well, let's be really smart about this. And we're going to play this numbers game. Let's say there's 3 days per weekend. Okay. Right. So that's now 18 days.
Yeah.
I can count 4 out of those 18. Now it's not 4 out of 9. It's 4 out of 18. And we haven't had a race postponed to the next day of any of the, I don't think we've had one race postponed to the next day.
True.
Of any of the series.
Correct.
I mean, and I was like, seriously, you're complaining about the fact that weather is impacting an outside sport that runs from February to November. I mean, and then this guy's like, well, in Brian's world, it must be 75 degrees and sunny. I'm like, yeah, that's why I spent the last 15 years or so doing this, because it's 75 degrees and sunny every time we run NASCAR.
Right. Yeah. Oh, well, hey, there are just some people that live in their own world.
Yeah, I mean, it's worse than it's worse than living in Michigan. Seriously,
right, apparently. Oh man. Well, I know it's early. It's Monday, but so what's the early outlook for Talladega this weekend?
Well, okay, so I'm going to say racing odds is 80% because that's what I typically do this early in the week if I think it's going to be dry, because I just don't want to ever give it 100% this far out.
Sure. Well, that's cool.
It looks right now. It actually generally looks pretty good for the weekend for both the Xfinity and the Cup races. Looks like sunny and mid 80s.
Beautiful.
I mean, I saw some indications that some showers near the coast, maybe. I think we'll be without a firing mechanism, meaning like a trigger of some sort. It may be on the warmer, humid side. So at this point, it looks pretty good. So again, we've seen these change. I mean, it is, the South in April.
Right.
So take it with what you will, but I say with pretty good confidence.
Okay. Hey, I mean, I'll take that. 80% and 70 degrees, 75 degrees. That sounds picture perfect to me. I would like that. And so would that guy that unfollowed you this weekend, apparently, too.
I mean, oh my God. I mean, as I've told before, and I think I said this on a different podcast, somebody asked me how I handle these people anymore. And, generally speaking, first thing I kind of look at is how many followers you have.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I mean, are you really worth me even are you, it's like, oh, you're not even worth, I mean, I hate to say that, but
there's the type of people that you've got 15 followers, no profile picture, and you're going to go out there and just try to start shit. Like that's, the kind. And hey, there are some people that don't have a lot of followers that are good to engage with, but unfortunately, that's kind of the stereotype, first definition of Twitter troll is, how many followers do you have? And yeah, I get it.
And I mean, like I said, we don't make the schedule. We have to use a schedule that, I mean, it's like, I mean, the downside is we have Vegas in March or in April, and it's very, very rarely do you get, very rarely do we get, rain, let alone rain and snow. There's been a few, but you can count them on one hand. Maybe you can count them on two fingers, the major problems we've had in Vegas in the spring. So, overall, this has been a fairly dry week of weather. We've had 2 weekends where weather has been a problem. But again, it's just sometimes that happens. You go into like a 15 to 14-day cycle of how weather kind of translates across. So you're going to get that from time to time.
Yeah. And like, I think the biggest point you made is, we've gotten the finish of every race like that. That's big. That's huge. So I'll take it.
Yeah. I mean, and we've managed to, we got through Daytona without any problems.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Alrighty, sir. Well, anything else before we wrap it up?
No, I'm good. Again, obviously, please follow both Aaron and I. If we get a chance to on Aaron, I have nothing to do with the Patreon, but there's a big difference anymore between Aaron and I. And I will apologize to all your followers.
Nothing to
still
apologize
love doing
for.
this. Aaron is definitely carrying a lot of water for both of us. But the difference is that a lot of his livelihood and a lot of different things is tied into what he does with NASCAR and NASCAR weather, while this truly has become since 2019, when I left television, has truly just become a hobby. So in some ways, especially like on an Easter weekend, like you did, I treat this like a hobby. And so other priorities, family, different things, work, come into higher priority than, say, taking the time to update NASCAR weather. But even though yesterday afternoon, I was at a Comic-Con, and I still did one of my things that I've done in the past. I told my wife, please hold on. And she was the wonderful saint that she is, as we stood near a trash can so I could put stuff down and so I could get on my iPad and update with the radar imagery. So I still take that time, but I don't try to go too completely out of my way as much as I used to. I just really wanted to get that out there. While I do love doing this, if anybody has said, well, he's just not as committed as he was, you're not necessarily wrong, but I am still trying to do the best I can when I can. And Absolutely. So that's what we're trying to do.
Absolutely. No, I feel the same way. I went like 2.5 years without missing a week of the show. And, I've already had like 2 or 3 off weeks just because I got a 8-week-old, so, it's this ain't going anywhere, but, there may be some downtimes with it. That's for sure. So I hear you. We appreciate you as always, for sure. Lap Traffic Nation, make sure you follow Brian on Twitter at NASCAR_WXMAN, along with Aaron Steadwell at Race Weather. And sir, we'll catch you in a couple weeks.
Sounds good.
All right, man. Talk to you soon. All right. You guys know what that means. It's barking dogs. It's time for this week's Lucky Dog and Lapdown picks. You guys know the drill. After race weekend, tweet your picks, and I will read them, tag you guys on some social media after I post the show. Little light on the submissions this week. That happens inevitably on Saturday races, especially when somebody maybe drifts off to sleep or whatever, or is trying to keep one eye open towards the end of things and forgets to send out the tweet until we did not have a Saturday night race. We had a Sunday night race, which is a whole nother thing there. So anyways, I didn't get it out till Monday afternoon. So with that said, my lucky dog pick of the race weekend is got to go to my lap traffic fantasy picks, because I actually tied for week high. I know. Let that sink in a minute there. I tied for week high. But I'll get to that in just a minute. Lap down, Mother Nature, because why not? Why would you let us have a rain-free race at Bristol? But as Brian pointed out, we're really not too bad from the weather side of things impacting our race weekends. So, all right. Let's get to your tweeted picks. Scott at 1985 Wagner, Lucky Dog. Kyle Busch for, in quotes, backing into a win. I love it, man. Lap down, Denny Hamlin, win, and 2 weeks of bad karma really isn't worth it. I love it. Chris at Chris 4WF18, Lucky Dog. Kyle Busch admitted he got lucky with the 8 and 14 making contact in turn 3. Laps down at NASCAR. They've had 2 years of dirt racing at Bristol. They still can't get timing and scoring right. Field freezing after stages wasn't emphasized enough. Please, no more Bristol dirt. All right. Hey, Chris, I feel you. I feel you. Fritz at Fritz 9824, Kyle F. and Bush for the lucky dog, Kevin Harvick for lap down and maybe make it an all-star race. How about that? I wonder if that would draw enough, and if it would be worth the investment to the track of hauling all that in there for the all-star race. But I'd be for that for sure. Jess at Iowa NASCAR fan, Lucky Dog, Riddick, and Briscoe. Hard racers, honest and humble after what had to be a devastating loss for both, 100%. Both, big Xfinity guys, lots of wins in the Xfinity series, and to be out there competing on the dirt for a cup win there, pretty remarkable. Lap down for Jess, regardless if they run on dirt or pavement. Bristol Spring Race needs to be moved to June. Yes, talked about that with you a little bit ago. Yes, for sure. And then Matt at Camper News Net, Lucky Dog, Kyle Busch being in the right spot and able to win his first race of the season. Lap down, confusion on the scoring during the rain delay. They had to bring in, expert after expert to hash that one out to try to make it appear as if they explain things correctly there. That was definitely a disaster and a debacle, as far as the fact that even though Kyle Busch was out because he elected to stay out, but because of the stage ending and they had it under caution, all of that was a debacle for sure. I think what they did was correct based on how they wanted to do it and what made the most sense based on the fact that they did freeze the field. But to the novice and casual fan, that doesn't know, and you can't fault them for that if they just tune in because they like to watch, certain short track races, or you got your fans that tune in just for, Talladega and Daytona. You can see where they'd be lost and not want to come back. That would be very frustrating as a casual fan, I would think, that doesn't help them come back for, another race, perhaps, knowing and seeing that confusion and seeing how the sport looked confused, from a broadcast perspective, in trying to explain that, like, well, wait, does anybody really know what the hell's going on here? So yeah, that definitely, definitely could have been a little bit better there. But again, just a crazy situation to where, if the rain comes out or a lapse earlier or later, you don't have that issue. So I get that they did the best they could in that situation there. So, all right. That is this week's Lucky Dog Lap Down Picks, and very curious to see what next week at Talladega brings. All right, Lap Traffic Nation. Normally we're closing it out with some Lap Traffic Fantasy, but don't go anywhere yet because we have Fantasy, and then Austin Wayne Self is going to close things out tonight. So stick around, still a little bit more to come. Keep the Twitter interaction up using hashtag LTFantasy. Don't forget picks are due by 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. And there are just 4 more Cup races to go in segment 1. And then we reset everything and we add that ever so important cumulative total that will set our playoffs at the end of the season. So let's get things going. Joining me on the line right now, he had the second highest points this week. It is Tom. What's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Oh, man, I'm hanging in there, So Lap Traffic Fantasy is always a love-hate relationship because I love it, but I also hate it because I very rarely do well. This week, though, man, I had the week high. I moved up a little bit, and I just know I am going to get bit in the ass as we go to Talladega this weekend. Oh, what'd you think of Bristol this week?
I thought it was a great race. It was fun to watch. The rain was a little bit of a damper, but other than that, I enjoyed it.
Excellent. Yes. So you are in favor of Bristol Dirt?
It's not my favorite, but I think they fixed some things from last season, and I enjoyed this one better than last year.
I would agree with you 100% there. What do you think of the league, man? You're struggling a little bit like I am. You're down there in the points column.
Yeah, I haven't really done well since Daytona, so I'm happy that I had good week going into the second segment. So, yeah, I'm going to change up some strategy, see what I could do to get into the playoffs in the second segment.
Well, listen, if you go out and win the second segment, it's a guarantee. And, yes, you and I we're colleague racing is trophy hunting. You and I are points hunting because we just need some points, man. We just need points. So, all right, I'm going to run through our top 10, and then we'll get to some picks for Talladega.
Sounds good.
All right. In first with 897 points is Justin Hughes. In second with 881 is Michael Mason. In third with 867 is Kristen Haugland. In fourth with 863 is Tony Salt. In fifth with 829 is Brad Carnes. We got a two-way tie for sixth with 824 with Fox's own Alan Cavana and Henry Fletcher. In seventh with 818 is Jason Dickus. In eighth with 814 is Don James. In ninth with 810 is Joshua Neal. And wrapping out the top 10 with 809 is Kim James. It's tight. It's close. There's still a lot of movement that could be had over these last 4 weeks in segment one. And then over to the bonus points. In first with 7 bonus points is Jason Dickus. We've got Kristen Haugland and Scott Boys with 6 bonus points. We got Kim James and Tony LeBay with 5. And then Benton Wilson, Brad Carnes, Brett Morris, David James, Henry Fletcher, Kevin Hahn, Logan Cummings, Matt Crowd, Michael Mason, Blind Spot Podcast, and Robert Riggs all have 4. Ton of people have 3, 2, and 1. So everyone's getting a little piece of the bonus point pie. But it only matters if you get to the playoffs. So keep them going. And if you've kind of fallen off, don't forget things are going to reset here. And there's still trophies, T-shirts, all that good stuff to be had. So there you have that. All right, Tom, you ready to make some picks, sir?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
All right, Lap Traffic Fantasy players, we are headed to Talladega for their first race of 2022 and our second Super Speedway race. Ford has really dominated at Talladega, having won 13 of the last 19 races. But we all know what can happen at the super speedways. Who do you have left to choose from, and do you risk using them at Talladega with just 4 races left in segment 1? Bubba Wallace picked up the win. Solid crate racer. Wouldn't count against you if you pick him. We all know Ricky Stenhouse Jr. can have his moments at the plate races. Who do you take, and how many big ones do we get? We'll find out this weekend. But first, it's time for our picks. Tom, I'll start with you. who is your pick for the Xfinity Series?
So Xfinity is not my specialty. I prefer trucks, but I was going to use Gregson, but I only have one more use for him. He crashed out in Atlanta, so I'll stay away from him. I might use him next week. But I'm going to go with the number 48 of Kaz Grala. The one time he's raced here, he finished 6th. So I think he's going to do well. Hopefully he gets me some points.
I like that strategy, sir. I am going to go with our Daytona winner in the Xfinity Series in Austin Hill. And see, I don't care if he wins. Just get me some solid points. You get me 40-plus points, I'll be happy. All right, over to the Cup Series, sir. Who are you going with?
For the Cup Series, I'm going to use the number 12 car of Ryan Blaney. In his last 5 restrictor plate races, he has an average finish of 11.8, which includes 1 win and 3 top 10s. In 6 races here, he has an average finish of 11, and he has 2 wins. So I like his momentum. He's had 3 top 10s in the last 3 races. He's consistent, and hopefully he can get me stage points and trip to the winner's circle.
Look at Tom bringing the stats. I love it. Solid strategy there. If I had him left, I would have picked him. But who I do have is his former teammate in Brad Keselowski, who we saw go make noise at Daytona. This could be one of their few chances to go pick up a win at with the number 6 team, and we all know that Brad has done some damage in the past in the win column at Talladega. So I'm gonna go with the 6 of Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, he was on my radar too.
I love it. All right, Tom,
Keselowski.
where can everyone follow you on social media?
I'm Ryan Cape on everything. Twitter,
Awesome.
Instagram.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for
Discord.
Thanks for hopping on. Appreciate you.
All right, thank you.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later.
All right.
See ya. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, it is not time to close this thing out just yet. Let's get Austin Wayne Self on the line. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making his first appearance on the show. He is the driver of the number 22 AM Racing Chevy. Welcome to the show, Austin Wayne Self. Sir, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing all right. Not too bad for a Tuesday afternoon.
Absolutely. Well, listen, man, we were talking before we hit record here. You got a baby on the way. I just had one. That's a hell of a ride. Congratulations. And it's going to be a fun time for you, man.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like I said, we were doing ultrasounds all day. We went to doctors. It's just been a really awesome experience so far. Like you said, it's, people try to give you advice on everything. And I've kind of realized that, it doesn't matter how much advice you get until you start getting through every step and learn as you go. And like I said, the experience has been awesome so far. And we're a few weeks away from getting to meet our little girl. And so for me, that's exciting and definitely different position for me too. I kind of I always got to compare things to racing and put laps on things. And my role in this is similar to a spotter. So Jen, I think she's got a little bit of confidence in me at times. I think she's reminding me how important my role is. So that's all I'm doing. I'm preparing myself for my role and everything. So
absolutely. Well, listen, you drive, right? Like, I talk about it as a hobby, and I'm a diehard, and I time myself on the diaper changes, so I can only imagine how competitive you're going to make yourself with seeing how fast you can get through a diaper change and a clothing change in how many seconds.
Right. Well, some of the language kind of rolls over, right? Like blowout, kind of similar things, right? Neither one is a great thing, but they can be fixed. So.
Absolutely. Oh, I love it, man. That's fantastic. Oh, man. Well, listen, man, we got a couple things to get into, but before we get into this past weekend at Bristol and all that good stuff, give the listeners a little rundown on your racing background and where it all started.
Yeah, I actually started, I'm from Texas, so my racing started out as, I guess, a hobby, really. It's actually a little bit funny. When I was 4 or 5 years old, my family's actually, my dad's side's from my dad also was going to Texas Motor Speedway later on, but it started out as something my dad wanted to do. He wanted to go racing, and my mom had told him that he had to find something that, me and him could do together, a father-son thing. So my dad was cool with it. He decided to get me a go-kart. So it started out with me and him in a little place in New Braunfels, Texas. And it started out with road course go-karting. And, one thing like the next was late model racing, at age of 14 or so. And then I got an opportunity in the ARCA series in 2013 and 14 and 15, where we were able to capture Rookie of the Year and actually finished second to points to Grant Enfinger in 15. So, and then of course, that's when the truck series started. And now I feel kind of like in a sense, almost like a veteran, right? I've seen so much in the truck series and been in so many different positions, different cars, a couple different manufacturers. So, I think this is my 7th year in trucks. Like I said, I've been doing it long enough to where I quit counting. So, but like I said, I've gotten to see a lot of things in the truck series and been through some different packages. And so I guess in a sense, I'm starting to become a veteran, but definitely, on the verge of, our goal was always to be competitive. And, we've been able to do that with AM Racing. Family team, and it's hard to build a team, but I feel like we're on the verge of kind of being that next big team where we can go out and race for wins or I always call it put yourself in position to win races. So that's our goal, and I feel like this year, well, it started out that way. The last 3 weeks been a little bit rough, but
yeah, a little rough. But hey, that's all right. I mean, it's something like Bristol. I mean, you're either going to strike gold or you're not. I feel like with something like that, and I'll say gimmick race. I mean, that may be too strong of a word, but it's definitely something that can, you can have a casualty happen, kind of like you had it. I'm excited to get your take on it here in just a minute. But you guys had a strong start to the season, and I mean that's got to be a confidence builder, right? To know that you guys can go out there and get it done and just continue to work on things as, we get to some of our more, cookie cutters, if you will, and build upon that, right?
Yeah, of course. And, it's funny. We kind of pride ourselves a little bit on the dirt racing. Of course, for me, last year was the first time I ever gotten anything. I say a real dirt car, right? Something that's supposed to be on dirt. And, and in the years past, that'd been a place where, I felt like I had good runs. My first ever top 10 came at Eldora in 2016. And I didn't race 17, but even after that, I went out to Eldora in 18 and ran second, I believe in the second stage there. So we've had good runs. We've had fast cars. And, me and my crew chief, Ryan Solomon, like I said, we kind of pride ourselves a little bit, on our dirt program, which, consists of now 2 races, but that's kind of the story behind it. Everybody, it used to be kind of like that, right? A gimmick race, but the truck series, we've been doing it for, almost 10 years now. Yeah. We've had a dirt race in the truck series, and, we look at it now as, the Bristol dirt race pays as many points as the Daytona race or any other race. So, I think it's nowadays for us, it's as important. For us, we have 22, 23 races in a season, and you got to attack that one just as hard as the others. And like I said, we always felt like we bring good products to the dirt track. Not saying we don't every other place, but like I said, our dirt program, we like to pride ourselves on it. And even though we didn't have a great finish this weekend, we got plenty of TV time, maybe at times for not the right reasons, but we showed some strength there in the middle of the race and even the heat race. So that's kind of been the story for us at times, where it's like what we do at the shop has reflected a little bit. We just haven't been able to put everything together, like I said, the last 3 weeks to have the finish and get some points that we really wanted to. So this point in our season, it's kind of, our outlook on things are a little bit different. I think maybe for the better at this point. So, but yeah, the dirt racing is, like I said, it's way different than anything else we do, but it's as important as any other race for anybody,
Well, you hit on something there that is a good perspective, I think, and that is it pays the same. Maybe, who knows, from a purse perspective, but from a points perspective, it pays the same. And, when you look back at just a couple of years ago, even from the Cup side of things, to where we did 2 road course races out of 36 races. And since the charter era has come upon us, the tradition, the road course ringers aren't as pivotal as they once were. And, same thing like with kind of how you use that with the truck race analogy there is, it's going to pay points and that's what you got to do and go out there and, treat it just like any other race. That's a great perspective. I love that there. All right, man, talk about it, man. Talk about the run. Talk about what in the world happened there with Matty D.
It's funny. I've had a few days to kind of reflect on it, but I still and I've tried to come up with some kind of witty comment on it, but everybody else on Twitter's done a good enough job. I've been enjoying some of the memes and everything out there, and it's funny. When everything was happening, it wasn't that funny.
Right,
You know what I mean? It wasn't. It was definitely confusing. Well, it's funny because we went down in the corner and the contact we made was really normal contact. I mean, it was that's kind of how the dirt racing was going anyway, and in general, that's how a slide job goes. The guy on the bottom kind of comes up the track. The guy on the outside usually has pretty good momentum center off the corner, and so the contact we made was fairly normal. I was kind of committing back to throttle. I didn't want to give up any of my speed. We were 3 wide going into the corner. So, I knew he had the position, but you can only give up so much. And like I said, the contact that we made, it wasn't enough to turn him around even. I don't even think he got out of shape. That was the funny thing. And I really didn't realize it, how subtle the contact was until I watched the replay. But the one funny thing was, we made a little contact, and of course, my spotter is still spotting, and he's hyping me up, whatnot, and we're coming out for you. He's like, yeah, push him. You know what I mean? Stay in the throttle.
Yeah,
you can't give anything up, right? It's that race is very much you can't take any of your speed. It's all about momentum, so you can't give much up, right? So spotter's telling me push him. That's when I got on the radio. I'm like, I'm stuck. Like, this ain't good, and therefore we went down the entire front stretch. And, of course, we were getting passed on the outside and inside. And one of the crazy things was, normally you feel everything going on with your truck. You can feel all 4 corners of the truck and, know what's going on. Well, I could feel 8 tires. I knew when De Benedetto was getting on the brakes, trying to slow down. So I was trying to do the opposite. When he was turning right, I was turning left, and I was on the brakes when he was on the throttle. And so when we finally got to 3, I think that's when we both realized, like, this ain't going to work out. We were headed up towards the outside wall, and that's when he finally was like, all right, he got on the brakes, I got on the brakes. And like I said, maybe it was good practice if me and him ever want to go chain racing. At least now we kind of know what not to do. Right. I'm sure if we got a little bit more practice, we could probably make a pretty good chain race team, but not in that race. We were doing the opposite of each other. And then, of course, when we got parked there, it was this weird, empty feeling of hopelessness, confusion. I got in the radio, and all I could say was, I have never in my life seen anything like this. And
I don't think anyone else did either.
Right. And I didn't realize how ridiculous it looked until I saw the replay. When I saw the replay, then that's when I realized, oh, this thing's kind of taken off. It was people enjoyed it way more than I thought they would. And of course, when we got unhooked and the fans kind of went wild there. And it was such a weird deal. And I think one of the funnier things was, I hadn't mentioned this at all, but I had stopped at a gas station on my way home, and of course I'm in about normal clothes. I almost don't have any racing anything on, and some guy was in there getting beer, and I went up to the cash register, and the guy had asked me if I had been to the race. I don't know if it was because I was dirty or what, but he asked me if I had been to the race. I said, yeah. I said, it was pretty entertaining. He was like, yeah, man, it was really cool, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, did you see those two guys get together and get stuck? And we had talked about that for about 2 minutes. Of course, the cash register guy got into the conversation, whatnot. And so I got to play. I told him, I said, man, I felt like I was right there. I had a really good view of it. And I've never seen anything like it. So.
Oh, that's hysterical, man. That's cool. I was, just crazy when you kind of put yourself third person and kind of just, insert yourself like that. That's funny.
Right.
Did you and Matt, did you guys talk afterwards or anything, or?
No. So, when that whole deal happened, of course I got out of the race car and that's when, Pac Ross and, a couple other guys came up and got to talking to me about it. Of course I was talking to my team, and, I had mentioned, well, I might go talk to Matt, and somebody else said he had already left the truck. So I was like, whatever. I didn't feel it was the urgent, conversation that needed to happen. Obviously he had every right to be upset. I was upset, but like I said, I don't know. I don't think he's upset with me. I felt like I said, I think he's just in disbelief that something like that could happen. And it was tough anyway, right? I mean, we got unhooked and our cars weren't that badly damaged. There's other trucks out there that were in worse position than us.
Yep.
We had just went 5 laps down under caution, which, my perspective, I was, my big take on it was, if NASCAR's going to do a dirt race, let's do a dirt race. And in dirt racing, you don't go laps down under caution. Even if you have a tire go down, you get, like a 2-lap courtesy rules. So, there's some things there that obviously to be upset about. But like I said, I didn't go running after him because I figured he was probably,
yeah.
I didn't feel like it was urgent. I wasn't mad at anybody. I don't think he was mad at me. It was just, I think if anything, we both just wanted to go home and go to bed.
Absolutely, right. That's one of those situations where, do it 100 more times, you probably couldn't replicate that situation. Like that's one of those just crazy one-off things. And, like you said at the start, you guys got a lot of TV time. Sponsors got some extra plugs on TV and all that kind of good stuff, So if there was a positive thing to look at and take from this is it's something no one's ever going to forget if they tuned in and saw it and, got like you said, got a little extra TV time there.
Yeah. And like I said, we had brought a good truck and AIM Racing's been, we've been building for the past year or two. And, with Ryan Solomon, the engineering group we have there now, and of course, AM Technical Solutions and their support for us and Good Techs. And, we've been building a team and trying to find a lot of speed in our trucks. And so, like I said, we were having a good run going. So, like I said, after, 3 races, with that being the third one, 3 races that really just hadn't gone our way. Coda, we felt like we had good speed and we couldn't stay out of trouble. So, we kind of the takeaway for us was really, we have a good program. We just got to get things straight. And if we can get a little bit of something going our way, we'll start having those finishes. So that's kind of the way it's been. I think the favorite saying we've mentioned it a few times. Favorite saying right now, of course, my crew chief came up with it, but if it was raining cats, we'd be getting hit by wiener dogs right now. So
nice. Well, listen, man, couple off weeks and then are headed to Darlington. A couple top 15s there already for you there. What are you going to do to get ready? From a nostalgia standpoint, how cool is it to go run the trucks at Darlington?
It's awesome. And it's weird to think, well, this would be our 5th time there, and we've only been going there for 2 years, right? It was really cool the last couple of years to get to go there twice, get to know the track. The biggest thing I think to prepare for this go round is realizing we have practice and qualifying. That's something we haven't experienced there. And, we've just been working on the cars and then, showing up, hoping we had the, right decisions heading into the race. So, I feel like we got a good truck for Darlington. We're just kind of trying to weigh out our plans for practice and qualifying, and I think we'll be one of the first ones out. So I'm really going to have to do my homework and see if I can get us a good qualifying lap, because that place is important for track position. It's if you don't get your passes done in the first 2 laps, right, your tires start to fall off. Yep. And it becomes more of a race against yourself in the racetrack. So qualifying is super important, and I feel confident. I mean, that place is probably one of the most unique racetracks any of the 3 series go to nowadays. Like you said, the history there is, you feel the history. Bristol, we've been going to Bristol for a long time, and it's still the racetrack's smooth. Everything's clean. The race, there's the new what do they call that thing? The TV screen that hangs. Oh yeah. Yep. What do they call that thing? The Goliath. That's bad. Well, I'm not doing them any favors, but you show up to Darlington, it feels like it feels the same as it has always, almost, right? Sure. And of course, rolling up to it's a really cool place. Down to the way the walls are painted, and then how the walls look after the race. So, just a super unique racetrack, and definitely a fun place for us to go.
That's awesome, man. Well, listen, last one for you. Tell everyone about your sponsors and where they can keep up with you on social media.
You can keep up with me on Twitter, pretty much all social media platforms at Austin W. Self. And then, of course, we got Go Texan, Airbox, AM Technical Solutions, C-Force Water, my wife that's pregnant. She's sitting next to me. She's sitting next to me now. Flying Circle. But yeah, AM Racing, Austin Wayne Self 22 truck.
I love it, man. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really enjoyed the conversation, and look forward to getting you on down the road, and congrats on the baby, and best of luck to you the rest of 2022, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Hopefully, next time we can talk about, something that's more fun for me.
Yes, absolutely.
No, I'm kidding. It's fun. It's been a fun conversation. It's been a fun conversation without anything else. If we're not going to have good runs, at least we have something to talk about. So absolutely. I appreciate having me on.
Absolutely. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, huge thanks to Austin Wayne Self for calling the show. Best of luck, man. Talk to you soon. Take care. Stay safe.
Perfect. Thanks,
man. We'll see ya.
Cool. See you later.
Lap Traffic Nation, man, Austin Wayne Self, great interview there. Really enjoyed that one. All right, that is going to do it for episode 276 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. Make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, Twitter @LapTrafficPC. Don't forget about the giveaway. Huge thanks to William Byron, Chase Purdy, Austin Wayne Self, Brian Neudorff, and Tom for calling into the show tonight. I think I've got something lined up for next week. Don't get caught chasing the lucky dog. Tune in each and every week to the Lap Traffic Podcast. See ya.